Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. It's really good to see all of you, and it's a new year at the UConn Law School, and you've already seen some great things. Our campus grounds have never looked so great. We now have all of our student-facing services staff consolidated in one area, the second floor of the library, to be able to cooperate and coordinate with all parts of the student body, JD, graduate, LLM, and the like. Our cafe has been renovated. It's under new management there in the basement of Hosmer. And now, for the first time ever, all 4 of our student journals have quality space with windows and 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access, which we're really proud of. We hear that there's a debate about which one corresponds to which house at Hogwarts. I'll be watching pro se for the outcome on that, as I know we all will. So there's some really great news to share, and I want to start with employment. So we've seen some great increases in our employment stats over the last 3 years since the class of 2013. Our combined JD required and JD preferred placement rate of students employed at the 9-month figure has gone from 59% to 69% to 80% as of this last March. That's a spectacular increase, and I'm going to come back to that in a bit to talk about where it comes from and what we're doing about it. But I also want to talk at the outset about admissions and enrollment. Everybody knows the national trends. First-year enrollment this year was down 1/3 from its peak 10 years ago. And that's a competition and a challenge for every law school, us included, but we bring to that some real advantages and some real strengths. First off, as I think everybody here knows, the ranking that just came out a few weeks ago of law schools that pay off, the U.S. News & World Report found us to be number 8 in the country in the ratio of average starting salary to average law school debt at graduation. That means that compared to 95% of all the law schools in this country, we do a better job of positioning our students for a good position at the time of their graduation in relationship to the affordability of our education. And in this era, that's one of the best things that we can offer. I'm really terrifically proud of that. But that's not all. You know, I think that we continue to be the number 6th ranked evening program in the country and overall the highest ranked public law school in the northeastern United States. The quality of our faculty, the quality of our teaching, I'd hold up against any law school in this country. And the quality and the skill of our staff who support our students and our faculty are terrific. And we are tremendously fortunate to have the team that we've got here. But there's another element that has a particular importance to our success in admissions, and that's the quality of this campus community. So I want to turn to that. What we find is that applicants who visit this campus very often enroll. And there's something that they perceive about this community when they're here, and that is that we work together and we work hard to understand each other as a group of people. And there's a number of ways that we do that, but that was illustrated in particularly impressive fashion with this year's 1L orientation program. As I think many of you know, but perhaps not all, every entering student this year in our JD program read Ta-Nehisi Coates' book, Between the World and Me. Now this was a challenge for most of us. This book called upon us to stand in the shoes of somebody whose life experience was very different from most of ours, and whose perspectives on our country and our world was different. And yet, one of the most important things that you can do as a lawyer is to understand and embrace the interests, the values, the perspectives of somebody with a really different background from your own. If you're going to effectively persuade or represent somebody, you need to be able to understand them, a client, a witness, a judge whose own career path or life's experience is unlike yours. So whether that person is a self-made entrepreneur or a victim of domestic violence, you are learning in the way you work with people here who are like you but are not like you. You're learning how to relate and get to the point where people can trust you. And if you're successful in that, you'll get leadership opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise have. So lucky for you, our students, Your time on this campus is a really perfect opportunity, and perhaps the last best opportunity you'll have to work with different people, whether it's forming partnerships in leading student organizations, writing papers, arguing cases, representing clinics, clients. And this is true, of course, not only for the JD students, but for our international and LLM students as well. This is your chance to work together, and if you succeed, you'll have an intelligence that too few people have. In particular, if you can speak intelligently and honestly about race, then you can tackle nearly any topic. So, there's a way, in addition, in which this law school and our work is related to the national conversation that's going on at this moment. We're at a stage that is questioning whether we are in fact one people, whether we're going to work together to build this country or whether we're divided against ourselves. By choosing a career in the law, you students have already taken sides in this question, because as lawyers, you pledge to abide by and promote the rule of law, the concept of equal protection for all people, the concept of due process of law before anyone is deprived of life, liberty, or property. To pursue those goals, we as lawyers have to embrace the entire national community and realize that every one of us is entitled to respect and to dignity. There's another way in which the work we're doing touches on the national conversation, and that is, how do you frame discourse at a time where policy, truth, and emotion are interacting in such a charged fashion? How do we deal with what some have called a post-truth regime, where the accuracy of accusations and assertions no longer matters as much as a soundbite that resonates with somebody's feelings of anxiety or alienation? Lawyers are experts at dealing with this. Our profession has developed some of the greatest engines of truth that have ever existed. Methodologies of cross-examination, responsive pleading, or clear writing and oral argument. When applied well, these defeat frauds. They defeat fallacies. In this respect, lawyers set an example for the country, and we are needed in the public sphere now to help discern flawed arguments in a way that it can improve our community, improve our country. That is part of what we're training every day on this campus, in our classrooms, in our journal offices, in our student organizations. And it's a large part of what makes this school great. So I want to move on and share some updates on some of the different things that we're doing at the school that I think are particularly exciting. And first off, I'll start with the many new programs we have underway. As I think everybody knows, in addition to our two long-standing LLM programs in U.S. legal studies and insurance law, we last year commenced LLMs in energy and environmental law and in human rights and social justice. And then this fall have started a new one in intellectual property and information governance. We also have an SJD program, which is the law school version of a PhD for training scholars. And of course, we have a robust exchange program by which students from other law schools around the world come here for a semester or sometimes a full year, and vice versa, yet increasing even further the degree to which our community here is an international community, and our students, when they leave this school, have already developed an international and global network of their own. We have a robust teaching program in Seoul, Korea, with our partner school there, the Hallam University of Graduate Studies. We are just now starting a new JD MBA dual degree that is compressed to 3 years, down from its previous 4. So that will enable someone entering with their JD class to graduate with that class in 3 years and yet have a Master's of Business Administration under their belt along with a law degree. And with the direction in which much of the law is going, that's going to be a terrific advantage. We also are starting with the UConn main campus, what we call a 3+3 program, and it's an accelerated program by which UConn undergraduates can apply here in their junior year and start taking their first-year law classes in what would otherwise be their senior year of college, getting both degrees in the space of 6 years, effectively having 2 years of law school tuition, but 3 years of law school's classes. We think this will be an advantage for us in attracting the best of the UConn undergrads to this school, which is a huge thing for us. We have a new program in compliance, which we do jointly with the business school. It's a certificate program, and I'm going to come back to talk about compliance a little bit more in a few minutes. And we hope to open in January in this building an incubator in which recent graduates of the law school come back and work in a zero overhead or low overhead setting with guidance and mentors representing that portion of that population, of our population, that's above legal aid but unable to afford retail rates of regular law firms. It's an astonishing fact in the United States that there are a number of recent law graduates who can't find jobs, and yet 80% of Americans can't afford a lawyer, and we think we can make a difference in closing that gap here. And we're working to expand our presence in Stanford. UConn has a Stanford campus. Our law school has traditionally not had that much of a presence there. We're turning that around now in a number of ways, including perhaps a series of CLE programs. But let me come back to employment for a moment. As I said, a terrific increase in our numbers over the last 3 years. Part of this is an improvement in the job market, but a lot of credit goes to our career planning office center. And part of that is this, that traditionally on-campus interviewing absorbed a fair portion of our graduating class as well as our 2L class. The nature of the job market, especially in Connecticut, has changed. It's far more differentiated now, where instead of a one-size-fits-all process, there are a multitude of different kinds of jobs, but they're looking for a more tailored situation and a more tailored candidate. And what that means for our student body is that there's a higher premium on looking into oneself and saying, what's the kind of lawyer I want to be? What's the kind of office culture where I'm going to excel? What are the values of a client community that I really care about? And by doing so, you position yourself to have far fewer competitors for a job when that job is the right one for you. So I'm tremendously proud of the work we're doing. We got a lot more to do yet, but we've come a long way, and it's been a great thing for the school and for our students. So that reflects another part of what is different about the job market now, and that is that more and more employers are recognizing that long-term success, or even medium-term success of a lawyer, depends less on credentials and more on relationships. And why is that? It's because if you look at the lawyers who are successful, they all have certain base characteristics and base skills and qualities. But what really sets people apart are characteristics beyond just legal ability or practical skills. They have to do with maturity and responsibility, with creativity and curiosity and imagination. It has to do with self-discipline and drive. Those are the things that really carry somebody forward in their career. You cannot convey those on a resume in any more than anything but the most superficial sense. You convey those by the way that you comport yourself in front of others. And by that exposure, you extend through your network and create a network of your own reputation that says what kind of person you are. And that's where the real success comes from. That said, we all know that there are certain sectors where jobs continue to be robust, tax as ever, intellectual property, compliance. Now let me say a word about compliance. As I think all of you know, compliance relates to the effort by an institution, especially a company, to ascertain that its employees, its agents, its vendors are conducting themselves legally and in a way that comports with the company's policies and procedures. It's become an exciting area, and the reason for that is that major United States companies and foreign companies that operate here are taking more seriously than ever the duty to make sure that they're engaging in a law-abiding fashion and that they're engaging in an ethical fashion. They're seeing that their business reputations are on the line. And what that means, and that's not just true in America, that's true of their operations throughout the world. And so what that means is that if you are interested in being on the cutting edge of bringing justice to communities that have been burdened by corruption, this is a place where that opportunity is strong. So I want to talk briefly about fundraising before closing with some discussion about the school's strategic direction. I am really proud of what our students have done the last 2 years and are about to do again in a few weeks with our Ignite campaign. That's the student organization crowdfunding project by which a number of organizations, student-led organizations, devise projects they want to undertake that need some funding support. And we then set up a website where students solicit donations from whatever source you can, each other, faculty, students, families, friends, alumni. And we have, from the trustees of the Law School Foundation, pledged $5,000 as matching funds to support the winners in those efforts. Thanks to that and some other initiatives, last year we increased our total donor community by 30% in 1 year. That was also a consequence of a program we have with the law firms and legal departments that have 10 or more of our graduates on their rosters. With each of those, we call it a law firm challenge. They make every effort to get 100% participation by the UConn grads in those law firms, and that also has been supportive in bringing a whole new group of people into our donor community. And then, looking to big time, we're 5 years away from our 100th anniversary, our 100th birthday as a law school. And we're thinking about a centennial campaign and how to do things that will be truly transformative in what we can accomplish with support for this law school, so stay tuned on that. So I want to close with some thoughts about the school's strategic niche and our direction. First, I want to reflect for a moment on what got us here. There have been 2 key moments in the trajectory of this law school that put us to the place that we are today and gave us the advantages that we have today. Well, I guess you have to say 3, actually, when you think about the campus. So the first was when we merged with UConn in the 1940s. The school was founded as an independent institution in 1921, and in the mid-1940s merged into UConn. If anybody's interested, Professor Kent Neumeyer has published, and we have published, a history of the first 50-odd years of the law school, which is terrific reading, and it helps you understand why we are who we are. Obviously, the move to this campus in 1984 was crucial. It is now part of our character. But there was another key moment, and that was in the 1970s when Dean Philip Blumberg took over as dean and had a vision for ramping up the scholarly quality of this faculty in a way that hadn't really been as strong a part of our vision before that. And commencing with the hires that he made in the mid-70s, we moved substantially up in the national recognition of being a community of truly great legal thinkers and teachers. And we stand on the shoulders of those giants today. So those were all really important moves in the history of this school. But I believe another time like that is at hand. Obviously, this is a time of huge change in the legal market and therefore in legal education. And what has worked in the past has to continue, but it's not going to be enough for the future, I submit. So what do? We build, of course, on our existing niche and our existing strengths and assets. We are the law school of the state of Connecticut. That means several things. It means we have a public mission. It means we have public support, which of course is a large reason for our affordability. But we are also, perhaps in the country, the law school that has the deepest engagement through our alumni with the institutions of law and government of the state. That is to say, the judges, as in this room, the judges whose portraits are here on our walls with the blue ribbons, prosecutors, defenders, assistant attorneys general, municipal attorneys, all the like. Anyone looking for a career in the public in Connecticut or in public interest in Connecticut, this is the obvious place to be. But we are a strong regional presence, obviously, and we're tremendously proud of that. And we are, as I mentioned before, the best, highest-ranked public law school in the Northeast. And we give that quality of education coupled with its affordability. And we're part of a global community, and we have a terrific atmosphere on this campus that we work hard to maintain. So that much we know, That much we're proud of. That much we have to work hard to continue. But I submit that there's going to be a new categories, several categories of strengths that our students are going to need in the future to thrive in the direction that the market's going. One is increasingly client-centered thinking. And by that I mean, rather than looking at the legal question as being the issue in any particular engagement, rather be client-focused and think of what's the client's concern, what's the client's interests, and what are the legal tools to address that. By doing so, I think you can help change your legal work or your legal department from a cost center to a profit center by thinking proactively with your client about positioning their work, their business, their family in a way that takes advantage of the law and looks ahead rather than waiting for problems to come up and be solved after the fact. Comfort with numbers is becoming more and more important. As I've talked to employers around the state and around the region, they've emphasized to me that next to strong writing ability, a familiarity with finance and numbers in general is a crucial skill that they need to see more of. And indeed, our new JD MBA is an important part of that. Professor Siegelman's course in statistics is an important part of that. We need as many of our students to have a comfort level and a facility with number skills as possible, more than ever before. And then there's systems thinking. With machine learning and artificial intelligence, routine tasks in the law, just as in so many other areas of life, are becoming automated. And legal jobs that were routine jobs, I believe, are going to be disappearing, not just going to non-lawyers, but are going to be going to machines. And that means that the lawyers who are going to have effective careers, that are going to have the best careers, are those who are not going to be performing those routine tasks, but rather those who are able to manage and design the systems to do so, requiring especially systems that are driven by software and data. Those are going to be in the greatest demand. Of course, through it all, the things that are great about legal education in this country and they're great about legal education in this school are going to remain. Of course, critical thinking, clear communication, professional character, those are always going to be crucial, and they're always going to be at the heart of what we do here as a law school. For that, I'm proud of this place, I'm proud of the people here, and I'm terrifically pleased to be part of this community and have the opportunity to be your dean. Thank you all very much.